All right. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, beautiful people. I pray that you're doing well. What a beautiful day it is to be alive. And I'm just so thankful to join with you all today. I'm Dr. Juanita Mercer. Gosh, I think like the last couple of uh, lives, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Dr. Juanita Mercer, and I'm coming to you from Lead My Heart, which is my coaching and consulting company. I'm super excited, and we're presenting to you 8 days to Unstuck. What do you think about this? Are you loving it? Are you enjoying it? What's up? Let me know, okay? Um, because the whole focus of this, y'all, is to get unstuck and get done. Get done with all the beautiful things that God has given us to do, the projects, the books, the events, the products, like whatever it is. But you've been stuck in it, like you've been dragging it. You're not motivated. You don't know really what's wrong. You just know that you're not progressing as you should. Where I'm here to help you to get unstuck and get done, y'all. We're going to address 8 different matters over these 8 days. So, we started on June 23rd and we'll go through June 30th. So make sure you join me every day at noon and then for the replay at 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to engage with me, okay? Like, share, tag, comment, react, okay? If I say something that really touches you, let me know. Use those react buttons, okay? But listen, we all struggle with being stuck. We all do. So I know you know someone as well. Okay. So tag them. Don't just use all this information for yourself. Okay. Because you know what? You could be helping someone get unstuck in a project that's going to bless you. That could be your answer. That could be meeting your need. Okay? So this is how it all works together. We're in this thing together. So don't don't hoard all this great information. Tag, share, okay, comment, let me know that you're here. So, day one, we talked about purpose. Yes, we did. Identifying purpose because we don't want to be doing projects that are not in alignment with our purpose, right? And then I gave you some tools of answering questions to help identifying your purpose and doing your mission and vision statement. And I really hope you did this activity. Like I said on my post, you have to make the commitment. You have to put in the work if you want to change, right? We all do. And then we have the purpose decision tree, where the main question is, does this project align with my purpose? Yes or no? And if it's no, what are you going to do about it? Okay. And then yesterday, we talked about SMARTY goals, right? We're all familiar with SMART goals. And if you're not, it was a nice introduction or just a, quick reminder. But what was the why? Can someone tell me? It wasn't why we do it. It was, is it ours? Is it yours? Right? It has to be yours. It has to be mine. And what we mean by that is, have I embraced it as my own? Not my supervisor's goal for me, not my pastor's goal for me, not my parents' goal for me, right? Not the governor's goal for me, okay, or the president's goal for me. Is it my goal? Even from an organizational perspective, even if it's the organization's goal, have I embraced it? Have I adopted it as my own? Okay, where I'm bringing my own self motivation to it. Okay, so I provided you these tools on my Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. So go check them out. The tools are there. Okay, and today we're talking about budgeting. That's right. Yeah, but not just that. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Um, because it's so important that we budget. Oh my gosh. Nothing's done without money, right? Nothing's done without currency. All right. And it's so, so important that we, consider that and think about these things because it's true. We need currency to do everything, right? Okay, so here's some scripture. Right, here we go. Luke 14:28 through 30 says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Right? That sounds like a good idea. For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and wasn't able to finish. Wait, you mean that if we don't properly plan to commit those plans to the Lord, because we know that's important. We've been talking about that the last couple of days. And we don't really stop to estimate the cost and to make sure that we have everything in order. That if we don't finish it, that affects our reputation. What? Yes. Yes. What you start, finish it. Right? That's what God does, right? We're his children. We model ourselves after him. And in fact, the word tells us that from the from the beginning, our beginning, God already knows the end. Meaning he's gone to the end first before beginning. Right? And so that should be our mindset as well. Let me go to the end first. Let me begin with what it should look like when it's done, what it should feel like when it's done, what we should experience when it's done. Now let me come back to the beginning and order my steps to get there, right? Because it's so important that what we start, we finish. And that's why I'm doing these 8 days to unstuck because I didn't finish what I started. I provided you all some cute, like 8 matters to consider. I put it in a cute graphic and was like, here you go. And the Holy Spirit was like, you're not going to help these people? That's it? You're not going to do any more than that? And so, right, we have to all finish what we start. Okay. Proverbs 22:3 says, and remember Proverbs, there's a lot of Proverbs that I use because Proverbs is a book of wisdom, right? The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. So what is this talking about? It's talking about preparation. How can you see the writing on the wall? How can you know what's ahead? That you see danger, you see pending war, you see economic struggles, you see a pending recession, you see how quickly laws are changing, you see all this stuff happening, and you don't prepare for it. You hear the murmurs of a possible merge, right? You hear the murmurs that there might be some layoffs. How is it that we don't prepare for that when God has been gracious in providing us warnings, right? Life is full of swift transitions, yes, but not everything is without warning. So we have to heed the warning. And it's a prudent person, someone who is like, hey, I see what's going on. I'm saving here. I'm collecting these resources. I got this on standby, right? Who prepares for that. But those who do not, they keep going without making any change and they pay the penalty. But you're prudent, right? Yeah, you're prudent. You're going to prepare, right? Um, because your project is an answer. Your project is a solution. Your project is the resource, right? For someone. And so it's so important that you keep going. So we're talking about budgeting today, and it's important that we differentiate some things. So number one, that we have short-term budgets, and then we have long-term budget that's necessary, right? Whether it's from a personal standpoint, if you're operating independently, as a small business owner, or this is just a personal project, right? But even from an organizational standpoint, you have your quarterly budgets, you have your fiscal budget, you have perhaps even monthly budgets, depending on what your products and services are, right? And your need for your organization to stay on target. So you're the expert on your project, not me, right? I'm just providing tools to help you kind of assess all this. But it's important that whatever your long-term budget is, right? Start there, right? Start with the end in mind. We're going long term. And then divide that into smaller segments. It could be, like I said, quarterly, it could be biannually, it could be monthly, it could be weekly, it could be daily, right? And then making sure that each one of those smaller or short terms, right, are in alignment with your long-term budget. So that's number one. And then we also have to know the difference between what we consider an operating budget and the project budget. Okay, for example, even as individuals, we all have our operating expenses. We have our monthly budget, right? Or perhaps even our yearly budget, if you want to go that far, as to say, okay, this is what I'm making this year. There might be some other opportunities for me to make money, but let's just set that aside. That could be the emergency fund money, all the extra stuff. But based on my expected salary, this is my budget for the year. This is my monthly budget, and so on. Okay. Now, with the operating budget, you have to understand that that could change from month to month. There might be some things that you only pay for twice a year or quarterly, right? And you have to factor in those expenses where it's necessary within those designated months. So think about that from either an organizational perspective or, personally. You have your operating budget where you're talking about everything that you need, you want, and your savings. And we're going to get more to that in just a second. And then you have a project budget, right? So your project budget needs to be standalone. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, that project budget should come from those discretionary funds, okay, that are built into your operating budget. Okay. And then you budget that accordingly. Okay. So those are the, different types of budgets you should be planning for and coming up with. Okay. So, but I'm not leaving you hanging without tools. So here's more of a standard budget, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, she kind of introduced this a few years ago in her book. Budgeting standards change, right? And I think it just kind of is more based on needs or personal um, obligations and so on, but we had the 80-10-10 at one time, 80% your needs, 10% savings, 10% like discretionary or something. And then it was like it changed to like 70, 20, 10, and you kind of see these going down. And then now we have this one that really is kind of emphasizing that only 50% of your budget go toward your needs. Now, there's several different ways that you can look at this, right? How do we go from 80, 70, 50? Did our needs reduce? Did our salary increase? Probably not, right? So, you know, I always say you have to use your discretionary power in these situations where, you know, I think the goal here is to try to Mhm. minimize from a minimalistic point of view, okay, what exactly it is that we need. But we understand that this is real life and that can be difficult to minimalize. It seems to like add on, add on, add on, right? And the same thing with organizational operating expenses. Oh my gosh, what businesses, had in their budget 5 years ago is very different from what they have in their budget now, especially restaurants and so on, where social media budgets have grown, delivery budgets have gone, and everything that goes along with building the infrastructure for that. So, is that a need? Some people may argue, no, it's not. but depending on the type of organization you have, that is a need to stay afloat. You're the expert on what your needs are. Okay, pray about those things and, come up with your budget. But let your target be 50% and then 30% for what you want. And I love this. Now, I do love the fact that, we're kind of building on this idea of what we want to do. If you want to go out, if you want to take the schedule that trip monthly or, then you're building that into your budget as well. Um, and then same thing with organizations. Maybe there's some new marketing techniques you want to try. Maybe there's some new customer gifts that you want to buy that you've kind of been putting aside. Then you get to try that out. And then savings is so, so important. Personally, organizational, you must have the ability to keep growing your cash flow and your savings. Okay. Now, I will say this is very standard, but I want to introduce to you this one, and that is the giver's budgeting rules. Because there's a principle that I truly believe in, and that is giving. That, let me tell you, the more you give, the more you receive. I don't know how it all adds up. Let me tell you. And we call this principle as believers tithing. But let me tell you what I've seen it do. The things that I try to keep to myself, gone quicker than I expected. Maybe it's too good, just they want to share it. Maybe they want to appreciate it the way I do. I'm just gonna keep this to myself. Gone. You like that? But when I share it, when I give it, it's like I never knew it could last so long. I've never seen it kind of multiply as quickly or somehow it just kind of hangs around with me the more I give it. Money, time, whatever. I'm telling you, there's a principle here that you want to get on board with, okay? So, I want to introduce to you the giver's budget where you're keeping your 50% needs and you're keeping your 20% savings. But now you're looking at 20% only your wants, 15 to 20%, and then kind of 15 to 10 and 15% um, alms. And you can use whatever word you want, tithing, alms, giving, right? But I love calling it alms because that's what my heart says it is. It's not just giving. It's not just meaning a principle of giving, but it's alms. It's a need. It's meeting someone's in need, right? And that's what my heart says I'm doing. I'm giving it freely because I know someone needs it, right? And so this is the giver's budget. And I'm telling you, it's a powerful thing that when you really put your heart into the 10%, what it can do for the rest of it, it will change. I'm telling you. So do that. Then we have also, oh, have. Then we have. I feel like, there was some kind of like British accent that just like popped out of nowhere. Okay. Now we have the project budget. Okay. So, we've looked at the standard budget, then we looked at the giver's budget. Okay. Now, I'm telling you, if you really want to grow and see your budget, then the giver's budget is what you want your target to be. And let me go back to that for a second. As an organization, you should be doing this too. This just isn't a personal thing. Organizations need to have alms built into their budgets as well. Give to other businesses, give to the community, give to people who you know are in need. Use that 10% to be a blessing to people. Just because you're an organization doesn't mean that you don't, actively seek to participate in the giver's model of giving, of budgeting, okay? With all that you've been given. That's how this circle keeps happening, is that if everyone had this mindset and truly allowed their heart to lead in how they budget, right? Then we would have fewer people in need, because everywhere they turn around, people are looking to fulfill that need. So, I just want to put that out there, okay? Now, the project budget. Okay, these are some things that you can consider here. Now, I didn't give percents here because, it can vary depending on what your budget is. I think the needs to be able to fulfill that project is going to dictate um, what those percentages are for the breakdown. But what you should do here, okay, is try to at least get the long-term budget amount for your project. So that's what I'm trying to help you do here, okay? I want to make sure you understand that. And then from once you get that number of that long-term budget, then you can break it down into, okay, every month, this is what I'm putting into the project, okay? So, number one, consider the scope of your project, right? How big is it? What is necessary here? Do your research, do your proper research to make sure you understand what this is what I want it to look like. This is how I want it to feel. This is what it should offer. How do I get there? What is the scope of it? Okay. And then number two, estimate costs of direct and indirect expenses. Okay. And that's important. Um, and we're going to talk more about different kinds of resources. I believe it's tomorrow we do that. Okay, so just know we're going to get more into that and factor in some things that you may not have considered. Number three, budget contingencies and accidentals. Oh gosh, I think of contingencies or things that you didn't even think about. Okay, now what should your budget be for these things? I would tell you at least 10 to 15%. Okay, at least. Um, when I think about accidentals, that comes from my production background. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a fashion producer right out of college. And when I was, working on projects, I would always tell the, person I was working for, whoever was hosting the show or whatever, that into your production budget, make sure you put in accidentals. Because when you're dealing with merchandise, right, especially if your project involves, uh, using people's merchandise, having to return merchandise in certain conditions, right, depending on what that is. Gosh, even when you take the best care, you've been super careful. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone around you has, right? Or accidents just happen. And then you might be responsible for paying a percentage of the damages or having to pay that whole thing in full. Okay. So it could be you breaking something accidentally, whatever the case may be. Make sure you also build in accidentals. And then if you don't use that money, if you have no accidents, awesome. You save some. Okay, but definitely build it in. Number four, budget training, skill development, knowledge. What if you need to attend a seminar? What if you need to get a certification? What if you need to kind of attend a writer's workshop or something that's going to cost you a little bit of money? You haven't factored in what it's going to take you to be able to fulfill the project, right? And maybe that's going to require some special skills and training. So make sure you put that into your budget, right? Not only what goes along with your project, but the investment that you're making in yourself. Okay. Or again, if you're the project manager, into the people who, it takes the training and skills to do it. And then let me be clear. This isn't like paying employees to do it. This is, you know, putting in the investment into training people and helping them acquire knowledge in order to fulfill something. Okay. If you're just paying employees, you're already paying them for the training and skills they already have, but you haven't considered the additional training, okay, that they may need or education. And then monitor your budget. That's number 5. Don't just put this together and then go lock it in a safe and put in, throw it into a black hole. Monitor your budget daily, weekly, monthly, okay, however it fits into your project. So I hope this helps, kind of talking through these things. And then there's one other kind of budget that you need to consider. What do you think it is? We're talking about money, but we also need to talk about time. That's right. Budgeting your time because we only have so much time in a day, right? So, how long is this project going to take? How long do you have to do it? How many hours can you devote to it a day? Um, right? We have to also budget our time. And so I'm introducing to you the Pomodoro method. I did not come up with this. This is not my method. I believe this it was introduced in like the 80s. But it's really catching on. And as people do studies on the Pomodoro method, they're seeing that it's actually really effective in its ability to help people manage their time better. Because you're always told manage your time. You're always given some cute spreadsheet, but really not an action plan. And so the Pomodoro method offers an action plan. Okay. And this is how it works. Number one, you set the task. Okay. And then you set a 25-minute timer. And then you work on that same task. That same task you just gave yourself for those 25 minutes. Okay. And then after the 25 minutes, beep, 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 stop. Take a 5-minute break. Make sure you set that timer too. Okay. And then you come up with your next task. Now, are you returning to the same task? Maybe. Are you needing to switch to another one? Perhaps. You make the decision, okay? But after 3 more pomodoros or cycles, that's just another word for cycle, okay? You take a 30-minute break, okay? A longer break. And then you get back to the Pomodoro method. Okay. So the idea is that we're working with an attention span, of 25 minutes. Now, let's be honest. Is this something that you will be able necessarily to stick to like this? Probably not. If I think you should try as you get into it, right? And see how it feels, right? How does it fit for you? But let's be honest. This is real life out here, right? Phone calls, interruptions, especially if you're working within an office space or shared space, or your house is just full of people. Like right now, it's like, you know, everyone's maybe coming to ask you, hey, can you do this? Can you stop and do this? Can you help me do this? Can you run this errand? Blah, blah, blah. Things happen, right? But with the time that you have, try your best to stick to this. Now, this is something I've just kind of been getting into. I find myself going more towards working in 30-minute increments. Okay, I try to really, for me, that 30 minutes is comfortable. 20 to 25 minutes is a little short for me. 30 minutes is comfortable. And then after about 4 of those, I take more of an hour break, to be quite honest. I might turn on the TV or, you know, go for a walk or go have some hammock time. I love my hammock. Have some hammock time. So for me, that is kind of how it fits. And so you have to find your fit too. Okay. But give this a try. So, y'all, that's it for today. Okay, remember, do your budgets, do your short, long-term budgets, your operating budget. Then from there, create your project budget, and then also don't forget to budget your time. Okay, let me know what your thoughts are. How did this help you? What questions do you have? I'm here to provide you with answers. And if I don't know, I will certainly pray about it and also research it and find the answer for you. Okay. Y'all follow me on all social media at Dr. Juanita Mercer. Um, hey, let's do this. 8 days to unstuck. It's going to be phenomenal. Don't give up. The world needs your project. I'm telling you, the world needs your project. Okay. Join me tomorrow. Okay. For day 4. Day 4. Looking forward to it. Goodbye, y'all. And remember, in everything you do and with everything you have, love God and love people.